Good morning. Happy first Wheel of Dharma Day. We are maybe 2 minutes, a little bit ahead. It's late, so just start now. Today is one of the most important part of the Buddha's life. Lots of time we think as a Vesak as the most important because that day Buddha become complete enlightenment. Actually, my point is I think today is the most important, more important than Vesak, because Vesak is a Buddha show up how he achieved the nirvana. But Buddha is already nirvana, so his main purpose of coming on the planet or on the earth is to share the Dharma. Yeah, so that reason today I think more important than maybe Vesak. Excuse me. Also here. So that way, I think for me today I think can say one of the most important occasion of the Buddha's life. It's called the Tibetan we call the Chokhor, or sometimes it's called the Tubatsishi. It means the lunat 6 months, 4th day. So that day Buddha gave the first Dharma of teachings. So today we're going to talk about a little bit on that subject, the first teaching of the Buddha to the human being. So we're going to talk on that. So I think basically we all know Buddha was born in the royal family, and just mundane livelihood. He wasn't with the struggling. Can say recession. No recession, no struggling, no with the financially no problem basically. But there are so many incidents that give him a question, so try to find the answer those questions. And more you stay in the royal family, his question is getting more and more. And sometimes I think people around him, including his parents, a little bit annoying from his question. He is asking too much. So sometimes they don't have answer actually. They couldn't say and he couldn't give the answer. And so truth is, they don't have those answers because the mundane way, we cannot give those answers truly. So slowly, and he forward to the more like trying the, and also I think in Buddhism we never talk, but one incident was when he was young. There's one teacher for him, personal teacher, who guide him like knowledge, like art, or especially the languages. There's one teacher. So when Buddha was a young teenager time, actually that teacher left. Went to forest to do retreat. Maybe that one also have some little bit kind of like Buddha have some way. There's also maybe he's leaving from the royal palace to try to go to the forest to try to find the answer for what he's searching. So I think that is maybe, but we never talk in the Tibetan Buddhism. We only talk as Buddha incidents when he went to outside of the city wall. Then he saw someone is sick, someone is old, someone is dead, and someone who sage or practitioner come with a really kind of like a looks happy and free, kind of a free man, free concept, a free conscious. So we only discuss on those. So because of that reason, and Buddhists have this renunciation of living from the home to join in the forest to try to find the truth of truth or answer of all his those questions. So I think those maybe combination of both maybe have to do. So overall, at the age, I think about 29, maybe a little bit early. I'm not sure 29 is right or not. The reason is because Tibetan people calculate as 29 is because Buddha become complete enlightened on the age 35. So from the 29 to 35, 6 years, because historically said Buddha did ascetic retreat, yeah? But before that, Buddha was learning so many masters. He went to many masters through learning. So I think maybe a little bit earlier than that. I don't think so. Maybe age 29, maybe it's age 25. I don't know. But there was before he went to the, totally ascetic, yeah? Ascetic retreat practice like 6 years. He went through many masters and learn from them until they cannot teach no longer. Like he master of all their knowledge, whatever they have, So that is showing us I mean, he haven't done those things for within the one day or within the month or something. So that way there should be few years Buddha spend those at least like 2-3 years. Buddha spend learning those skill and knowledge and experiencing through the meditation. So bring food for him, but he never ate like many days. Just left there without touch. So that is showing us really Buddha went through many trainings from different teacher before he went to ascetic retreat 6 years. So that way, I think my guess is maybe before the 29, he left from home to join to the, at that time, maybe can call the sage or maybe can call the monk. I mean, they already have a many retreater in the forest. So he joined with them. So this retreater of the tradition is happened long time ago. It's happened from the around when what called the civilization is started building to the like a what called this like a community and a leader. Okay, so because there's a conflict happen, so they have to build a community, and once they build a community, they appointed one person as a leader, head of the community, and they pay him called the fee, six over one. That's called a tax. 6 to 1. So when they build in that community, some people are become a little bit too tired of that, community policy and this. So they went to in the forest. Yeah, so they separate themselves from the community to went to the forest and they learn in meditation. That is how Rishi system is a start from there. So that way, this I think system of the people go to the forest to try to find the spiritual is a long before this around when the social, what called the civilization is built into the community. Around that time too, they already have this one. So that reason, even Buddha, before he become a Buddha, they are already, many of them doing retreat in the forest to try to find the, true happiness in inner wisdom, try to find. So there are many of them, and each one have their own method. Like one time Buddha was going, one guy is only standing on the one foot. It's just bathing in the water. So Buddha tried to do that one too. So he did everything what he found. There's a spiritual way to try to find the truth. So I think that reason it will definitely it will take a few years even at less, maybe 2-3 years. So that way maybe not necessarily is the age 29, but historically everyone said, all the stories saying is that Buddha left home when he was age 29. So when he was meeting those teachers, at that time, so well-known teacher, well-known or whatever, he was asking, Siddhartha was asking to the, then when he was meeting on the way, there one group community, he met his childhood teacher, who left earlier. Then that childhood teacher said, I knew you will come here. I knew you will come. So I'm just waiting you. So then Buddha started going through all those training. Then he went to Bodh Gaya and he did like 6 years ascetic practice. Like first 2 years, fruit. It's kind of olive fruit, kind of 3 pieces of fruit for the one day and 3 drops of water. The next 2 years he did the 2, and then last 2 years he did only 1 piece of fruit. So that reason Buddha became so skinny. At that time, actually, when they're doing those ascetic retreat, those 5 monks from including one of his earlier teachers, they joined with Buddha. They joined with the Buddha, and they all agreed to do the ascetic retreat. They're not avoiding all the, I think best diet maybe. So when they did that one, but finally after the 6 years, Buddha realized just torturing your body is not a good solution to find the true, truth or inner wisdom. Because when your body is really, really weak, your mind is become weak too. So that way Buddha said this is too extreme, and that too extreme doesn't work. So then Buddha realized if he needs awaking his mind totally from the delusion, he needs physical strength to build the mind's awareness. So that way he started taking the raw food. Sujata offered him the yogurt, a rice pudding. Sujata offered and Buddha took. When Buddha took, those 5 monks said, you broke your vows. We thought you can become someone great practitioner. You are truly royal, spoiled boy. Couldn't tolerate your ascetic retreat. So you cannot keep your vow. We cannot be associated with you. So those 5 monks who are his companion, they left from the Bodh Gaya area went to Varanasi, Saranath. They went to Saranath. So that is how they separate. Then Buddha went to the Bodh Gaya under the Buddha tree, and he meditated and he made the commitment until he totally awake. Even his body is totally rotten. He's not going to move from here. So that is how, on the Vesak day, Buddha become complete enlightenment. Free from all those defilement and obscurations. So that was the Vesak days in the lunar 4th month, 15 days. So from there too, Buddha was, doing meditation and sitting there and walking, lots of meditation. But he was also same time he was looking to someone to suitable to can share his knowledge. First he couldn't find anyone that he can share. So then also he thought, oh, this is so deep. I don't think so anyone can understand. And one reason is that one. Another reason is at that time, all the Indian people are worshipping to the like Indra, Brahma, that kind of worldly powerful beings. So Buddha said, until some kind of that beings come to requires, I think people will not going to cherish my teachings. Not people will not see the value of my teachings. So Buddha didn't give teaching, actually all those many reasons, he didn't give teaching for 49 days to the human beings. But according to the Vajrayana, he already gave lots of teachings after that. Like there's one called the Torjin Namjum, one of the Vajravidhara mantra. Actually, Buddha taught right after he complete Buddhahood, that mantra. So in the Vajrayana, there's a lot of teachings happen, but not to the human being, mostly to the spirit. So that reason, directly human being, he's looking to the suitable vessel to someone can understand. So when he was looking, those all his previous teacher, whom he think maybe they can understand what he already have a great wisdom. But when Buddha become a Buddhahood, all those teachers before he met, all they passed away, except these 5 monks who left from him. So Buddha walked from the Bodh Gaya to until the Saranath, Varanasi. And so then when Buddha is coming, those 5 monks make the vow each other, said, oh, that the Siddhartha who couldn't tolerate his vow, who couldn't keep the vow, he broke the commitment, and we cannot associate with him. He is not someone who can keep the commitment. So we shouldn't be close to with him, because we can get his influence of the breaking vows. So I mean, that reason in the Buddhism always we said, don't associate with the evil companions. So that similarly, something like that they said. So we shouldn't be friends. We just let him sit, but we're not going to serve him before. We're not going to pay homage to him. But when come to the close to them, they couldn't resist that one. And so everyone sit up. Somebody offering him a cushion. Somebody offering him like water, and then somebody said, "How are you?" And they all say like, without the even they don't want, they have to do that one because of his power. So Buddha said, "Don't call me now. Venerable or monk. You have to call me now as a Tathagata, because now I achieve complete awakeness." So he said, now I'm Arhat. So that is that time. There's one monk from the 5. When they're making a vow of we're not going to serve him, we're not going to pay homage to him, we're not going to respect him. But one of them from his heart, he does not agree with that. But he didn't say anything. He doesn't agree with that. But he didn't say anything. But then all they invite, and from there to Buddha gave their and the first teaching of. Then they ask, what you achieve, what you realize, what you learn, what you because you looks different now than before. Definitely there's something you got, because from your appearance you are totally different than before. Now you have a more like a aura. Also barbarian is a barbarian, like around when you go to around people, they have a different feeling. It's a totally different now. You definitely got something. So can you share us? So that is how they asked him. And also same time, there's Indra and Burma came to request him to, Burma offer him Dharma will. When he offered Dharma will, at that time, there's a teaching area, there are lots of deers. Then there's two deers gazing to the Dharma wheel. That reason in the monastery, we have this, Dharma wheel center and two deers. All monastery have. That's happened there. So because those all incidents, then Buddha started giving Four Noble Truth teachings. So this Four Noble Truth, why is it called the Four Noble Truth? One reason is anyone who truly understands this four subject, they can become a noble beings. Noble being mean in here, noble is talking about in Sanskrit it's called the Arya. Arya mean the higher one, superior one. Who's the higher one, superior one is higher than worldly beings. Yeah. So like Arhat, so that one is called the noble in here, not same as an English noble one. Yeah, English noble is not necessarily have to be someone enlightened. In here, in the Buddhism language, one saying is noble, basically talking about someone who enlightened one, free from samsara. So someone's mind is awake from the delusion or confusion. So that is called the noble. So anyone who understood and practiced for this subject, they can become a noble. Or another way is said, why is called the noble truth is only a noble being can understand the true truth, really truth. Because like ordinary like us, we cannot understand complete the truth unless we rely on the teaching. So that reason this called the Four Noble Truth. So there's a basically there's a four, but it's divided into two. Cause and fruition of samsara and nirvana. Two are cause and result of the samsara. Two are cause and result of the nirvana. So what is samsara? Mean the suffering one. Yeah, we are tortured by the all different kind of sufferings. Samsara being is not free from sufferings. That is what is a samsara mean. So if you look the jewel ornament, you look at from the introduction part of the jewel ornament from the beginning said, what is the difference of between the samsara and nirvana is naturally same, but one is confused because of the they are suffering. Samsara, nirvana means the free from confusion, awake mind. Once they awake from a mind from the delusion, they no longer have the suffering. That's in nirvana. So here, samsara means someone who are unsatisfied or suffering. Yeah. So then that is called the samsara or truth of the sufferings. So then you have to know the source of that suffering. Where it come from? There's nothing is without a cause, and so there have to have source. You have to know the source. So also, it's a reason is why Buddha giving teaching on the suffering as a first. Because if we recognize it, we understood the suffering, truly understand the suffering, then we can figure out the source. Make sense? So without the knowing of those two, recognizing the suffering and the knowing of the source of suffering, you have no chance to. So that way, two are the cause and result, truth of the source as a cause and truth of the suffering as a result. And okay, now once we know those two well, then you will see as there can be find way to solution to find the cessations, yeah, free from that sufferings. When completely free from the suffering is called the cessation or nirvana. So but this is not come by some blessing or some kind of hope, some kind of prayer. Make sense? It have to be gained through the practice by following to the path. It means that no one can walk for you. You have to walk yourself. That way, Buddha showed the path. There's no like what call this hitchhiking.
Free ride.
No free ride. So you have to walk yourself on that. Make sense? So that way, said how to reach to that cessation is by rely on the truth of the path. So that is the solution. How to get rid of source of suffering is by relying on the truth of the path. Path is the antidote of the source of suffering. Make sense? So that is why Buddha's teaching is all the antidote of the afflicted emotions. Because the afflicted emotion is the source of suffering. So that is solution of samsara and nirvana. There's a two. That way is called the Four Noble Truth. Okay, so I send you the list. Some of you may get this Four Noble Truth itself is we divide it into the 16. Each have a subcategory, subcategory, yeah, at the 4, each one. So that way there's a 16 called the normal is called the 16 aspect of the Four Noble Truth. So from the 16 aspect of the Four Noble Truth, first is called the suffering, a truth of the suffering. Sometimes it's called the truth of the unsatisfactoriness, yeah, unsatisfactoriness. And in the Sanskrit, it's called the dukkha satya. Yeah, dukkha means the suffering. So this one is have a 4 different. As the first is called the unsatisfactory one. Second is called the impermanent. Third is called the empty. And the fourth is called the without the self. So the first one, unsatisfactory, is as the same as the suffering itself. So what is the sufferings? Because we are continually sentient beings from the formless realm to until the hell beings. They are continually experience of the 3 type of sufferings. Yeah, like most of hell beings, they mostly experience the suffering of sufferings. And God realms, like desire realms, they lots of time they experience the suffering of change. Human too. We have both suffering and suffering of change. And of course, all pervasive suffering is every sentient beings. So like a formless realm and a formed realm, they don't have that suffering and they don't have the suffering of change at that time until the day dying actually. But they are with the all pervasive sufferings. Because long as they have a 5 aggregate, that's all pervasive sufferings here. So this one is lots of people said, we don't need to talk about the suffering. I already know about the sufferings. Yes, we know the suffering, but we couldn't recognize it as a suffering of change. And we don't know how feel the all pervasive sufferings. So different of the all pervasive suffering for us and arhat is for us, all pervasive suffering is a feeling of one hair keeping in the palm. You not feel anything. One piece of hair come in the palm, you're not going to feel anything, yeah? You cannot tell that it's there or not. But if that piece of hair goes to the eyes, immediately it becomes uncomfortable. So for the arhat, all pervasive suffering is like hair gone to the eyes. For us, worldly beings, all pervasive suffering is like a hair on the palm. Why for us that one is because we have other suffering really strong. Like if you have a really, really strong pain somewhere, okay, stomach or headache or really bad pain, not the small signal. So like that, we are totally of suffering and suffering of change. And we never noticing that all pervasive suffering is because it's so small compared to the other two sufferings. So that reason we need to know that one because that is the source of two other sufferings. Long as we have this all pervasive suffering of the five aggregate, we never be free from total sufferings. So that reason Buddha need to give teachings to make sure we can understand about the sufferings. So that way, when look this way, actually we don't know about the suffering that much. Because if we don't know about the suffering, we will never know the source of suffering. Yeah? If we don't know the source of suffering, we will never find the solution to how to free from that. So that reason, knowing of the suffering is a reason why we have to learn the suffering. Otherwise, I mean, some people think talking about the suffering is making more miserable, more kind of like uncomfortable. Lots of people think that way. So that reason, I think knowing of the suffering is a necessity. If you don't know about your health, how are you going to treat that? If you want to be healthy, make sure you have to check you don't have any kind of disease or any kind of sickness. Knowing of the sickness, if you have something, is better than just avoiding. If you avoid, and it become a last stage. When it become a last stage, you cannot treat. So that reason, before it become out of control. So that way, in the Buddha's teaching, first is giving teaching on the truth of suffering. Within the truth of the suffering, first one is the four subcategories called the suffering. It means that continually tortured by the three types of suffering, sentient being are. Okay, then second one is called the impermanence. Impermanent means from the birth to, I think can say death, or from the beginning to until end, we never be stay on the without the changings. Every single nanu, our mind and our body always a changings. Nothing is a stay on forever. Like lots of time we said, oh, I met you last year, I met you yesterday, I saw you yesterday, I have been here last time. That place is not same as the last time one. The person who you met yesterday was the same, actually, not same. They always have some change comes. Yeah. So it's not really change. It's not really fast enough to recognize it immediately. But when you gradually, you can see how much change comes. I mean, that is called the getting aging. Yeah. Yeah. So that reason, that everyone have the change come. So no one will stay forever in the same way. Yeah. Everything change every single moment. Like a sun. If you just look the sun, it look like it's just staying there. Yeah. But if you look that's really close to the sun's shadow, and you can see it moving. It's slow, but it moving. So that is showing us a time, and everything is all phenomena are changing. There nothing is a stay forever, same way. So that reason called because of the changing, that we're called the impermanent. Then the third one is called the empty. So this one is empty is not same as a we normally talk about the emptiness. That's not same. But also we can say when we're talking about the emptiness, there's a something is empty of something. Yeah, like when in the Heart Sutra said all phenomena are emptiness. At that time, what does emptiness mean? The empty of inherent existence. But here in the Four Noble Truth, it's used as empty. Empty means the five aggregate or five aggregate can say, yeah, there's no solid self, no exist the self, yeah, in the five aggregate. Five aggregate, they not have a kind of a singular solid, some kind of a self, or maybe can say Atma. Yeah, so something not that is not there. That way it's called uh, it's called empty. Um, and the last one is called no, without the self. Without the self mean lots of this is self is not, I think not same as an English self. Yeah, this is it's a kind of like soul. It's kind of Atma. They say some things have to be their creator. Without the Atma, cannot create it. Make sense? So need to self to create it. So lots of ancient religion, the self, which is the creator. But Buddhism said you don't need to be self to create some things. Like look at the car. Car have no self, no Atma. But when come all those, cause and condition come, all the suitable cause and condition come together, it become alive. Not just alive, they run. Yeah. So long as all the cause and condition come together, it can produce the phenomena. It can create it. It's not necessary to self for that. So this one is, I heard, I never read it myself. One is called Malinga Sutra. There's a Greek king from Afghanistan to discuss one of the Buddhist monk about this, So then the Buddhist monk said there's no need to be self to create the physical body, because like a chariot have no self, but when all the cause and condition come together, it become a chariot. So the reason that these three: suffering, impermanent, empty, and no self, as a four subject subcategories of Four Noble Truths. Especially these four are antidote of this called what called this? Sometimes it's called the four inversion. Yeah, INVER, inversion. Yeah, or sometimes it's called the four misapprehending. So what does mean the unclean as a thing as a clean? Yeah, no self as a self. Yeah, it's a suffering as a joy, and impermanent as a permanent. That's what is for misapprehension. So this suffering is the antidote of the misapprehension of the seeking five aggregate as a pure, a clean, or satisfied joy. Yeah, and impermanent as a antidote of the like everlasting. We think our body is a continuous same one. We have that concept. That reason when death comes, we couldn't accept, because we have thought, I'm have to be exist this continually, not changing. So and two called impermanent, I mean emptiness and no self as a uh, uh, antidote of the me and mine. Yeah. So this is called the four misapprehension.
Misapprehension.
Yeah. So antidote of these four subject of the Four Noble Truth from the suffering, truth of sufferings, those four subcategory are antidote of the four misapprehension or for inversion. Yeah. Okay, then the second one is called the truth of the source. In the Sanskrit called the samudaya sataya. Samudaya is a one way is mean the source where it come from. You know, another one is also samudaya is I think meaning is something gathered. So all cause and condition have come together to produce something. So they need a source not just by one cause or one cannot be. Have to be complete cause and condition have together to produce something. Yeah. So samudaya is maybe like a more than one cause gathered together, and those all is become a source of whatever happening. So this truth of the source division in the subdivision is the four. First is called the origination. Origination mean like a all our like three realms, you know, and five or three realm or five realm of the worldly beings as a come from this source. All the samsara is a come from this source, like from the field to grow the you know what called the vegetable. So field is the source of the vegetable. Can say field or farm, the soil.
Oh, ground, earth.
Not just earth. I mean, they have to have some kind of like a, you know, good suitable soil to farmer, you know, as a
Fertile?
huh?
Fertile?
No,
It would
just
be farm.
yeah, farm. Farm is the source of a
Crop.
crops. Same way, this source of all what called I mean the all the worldly three ram or five ram. Yeah, as it come from this source. So that way it's called the originations. And second one said highest protections. Highest protection is especially when that cause and condition of the afflicted emotion and negative karma are really strong. They then they produce uh, the result will be so fast. So that way, this highest protection is talking about the mainly is a like a can say like a strong afflicted emotion and negative karma to creating you know samsara. So that we call the highest protection. Then the third one is called the cause. That this is the mainly cause uh, is called the leda nyumomba. Le mean the karma, like physically and verbally, we engaging on those negative, like physically killing, sexual misconduct, stealing, and verbally lying, harsh word, idle talk, divisive speech, that kind of. Those are what called the produced by, can say produced or created by the negative emotions, you know, like, yeah, produced by the negative emotions. So these are is called the leda nyumoba. It means the karma and afflicted emotions. Because of those three afflicted emotion of aversion, wrong view, and harmful thought. So those are aversion mean the attachment, wrong view mean the ignorance, harmful thought mean the not aversion. Sorry. What call this? Covetousness. Yeah, covetousness, harmful thought, and wrong view. So covetousness is attachment, harmful thought is a aversion, and wrong view is a ignorance. Those three afflictive emotion created the body and speech to the negative karma. Because of that negative karma, and we become samsara. So that way, source means the afflictive emotion and negative karma. So lots of people have, especially in the Western culture, when they talk about the karma, people think something kind of punishment. Karma is literally mean the action. Because whatever you put the action, there will be result from that action. Reaction comes. So that one is a cause, and the last one is a condition. But condition mean that even the cause is there. Have been all the condition come there. If you don't have all the condition as a favorable, then even cause alone cannot do anything. Like we have a main cause of the growing the crops as a seed, but it need the condition of the fertilizer, good soil, good temperature, water. All those have to come condition together. Yeah, so then is created. So these four is called the origination, highest protection, source, and condition. This is it for subdivision of the truth of the source. Okay, and third one is called the truth of the cessation. In the Sanskrit called the Nirodha Satya. Nirodha is mean the kind of like a stopping from the source. Like if you want to stop the water, if you try to stop from the from the bottom, yeah, is it not easy to? Not easy to. But if you stop the source, it's much easier. If you try to stop from somewhere, it become only float. It's called a dam, yeah, and you get the water to get everywhere. So you couldn't stop actually unless you really stop from the source. So if you want to be Nirodha or Nirvana, then you have to stop from the source. So in the you can see this mantra on the it's called the independent mantra. So that's at that time in Nirot mean the Gule Gokba. It means the cessation from the cause. So there's a two kind of cessations. It's called the without the analyzing cessation, yeah, non-analytical cessation, and discriminating analytical cessations. Non-analytical cessation means that because of this world, what is beyond the world we couldn't see. So with cessation or stop seeing that one. We couldn't see, because we couldn't see that one, we don't have any kind of conceptual of attachment or hatred, anything. It's a cease from there. It's a stop seeing that one. So that way we don't have any kind of a conceptual. It doesn't mean we using by our own discriminated wisdom. No, it's because of the world. Nothing have to do with our own discriminated wisdom. But here, achieving the cessation is through the discriminated wisdom with discriminating analytical. You analyze the analyzing to then you find the truth, truly existence. Then when you're from there to you can get to the nirot or nirvana, cessation. So that way, this cessation is called the discriminating analytical cessations. So this cessation is divided into subdivision is 4: cessation, peace, excellence, and definite release. So first one is called the cessations. So what is the cessation mean? The when you free from defilement, afflictive emotion. Yeah, when you don't have afflictive emotion, you will not do the negative karma. When you don't have a negative karma, you suffering. Somebody in the Facebook asked how we can quickly, reach to the cessations. So best way to you quickly reach to the cessation is to just stop the negative emotions. Once you can stop the negative emotion, no one can make you suffering. If you not stop the negative emotions, no matter how many people try to help you to make happy, no one can make you too happy. So source of suffering and happiness is within us. No one can make us really happy, or no one can make us truly miserable. We are our own we have to take our own responsibility to make it miserable or making happiness. When our mind is really corrupted by the negative emotion like anger, hatred, jealousy, never be peace. So once stop that one, so how we can stop that one is by rely on the Dharma. So Dharma is have to use there. Whenever you have those emotions, use the Dharma. Like when you have angry, use force to yourself to the matter on the compassion. You have to put effort. It not come naturally. When you have an attachment, force to yourself as a meditate on the ugliness. When you have ignorance, force to yourself as a try to understand the interdependent. It means that educated, know about it, learn about it. Make sense? So we have to put the effort, or we have to put the force to do that one. Then we can gain the power to how to eliminate those emotions. That is the only way to how to reach to the cessation. So when we stop this afflictive emotion and negative karma, once we stop afflictive emotion, we will stop the negative karma. Make sense? So the reason we always said source of samsara is attachment. Because of the attachment, we will have aversion. Why make us attachment? Because of the ignorance. So, not source, sorry. Root of samsara is attachment. Because of the this root of the attachment have the aversion. So that root of the source is the ignorance. So that way it's called a confusion. Why it's called the confusion? Because we being attached to something is not really desirable, truly not desirable, but we attach on that. So that reason how to this is the only way to how to get to the cessation. I say stop afflictive emotion and negative karma. Then you will not have experience of the suffering. When you are not suffering, you will not have ignorance. We struggle this way. First, we have negative emotions. Because of the negative emotion, we create a negative karma. Once we create the negative karma, you cannot stop the negative, result of that is a suffering. When we are suffering, we are so weak with the mind, as couldn't judge, couldn't discriminate what is right, what is wrong. That is called the ignorance. Because of that ignorance, again, make the afflicted emotions. Emotions. So this is continuing that's called a cyclic existence. Yeah, that circle is a continuous. So we have to break. How to break that one is first the main source have to break. That we call the nirod. What is the source? Is a negative emotion. Once you stop the negative emotion, you don't need to put effort to stop the negative karma. We couldn't stop negative karma because we don't work with our own emotion. We don't try to not fix our emotions. We always blame to someone else. You know, so that reason we couldn't stop this cyclic existence. Yeah. So that way, how to stop this source? How to cessation is a stop negative emotion. So I think I hope you answer. Somebody asked here on the message. Fastest way to get out of suffering. So fastest way to get out of suffering is called the nirod. So stop the source. Okay, then the second one said peace. So peace means that now once you have this cessation of a nirod or stop the source of suffering and no longer continuing the suffering. So that way called the peace. Peace means the free from suffering, you know, peace of mind. This is a true peace. For our peace is a kind of like a suffering of change. We get some kind of peace, but then after that it's become a greater suffering will come, you know. So but this one is a totally completely stop the source, so that way no longer continuing that suffering, and because they are free from the aggregate. Yeah, so because long as we are with the aggregate, basically is there some degree of suffering there. So they are totally detached from that aggregate, free from the attachment of that suffering. So that way is called the peace. So one is reached to that peace and said excellence. Why? There are no more harm. So that is what it means, the excellence. Mean that no longer have an experience of the harm. So that way, excellence. And also no longer come back to the samsara by karma. Yeah, by karmically, no longer rebirth in the samsara. Yeah, even those Buddha and Bodhisattva are born in the samsara, but they don't have a samsaric falls. So that reason, in the Hinayana tradition, they never will reborn in the again back to the samsara. In the Mahayana and the Vajrayana tradition, even they will born back to the samsara, but still they don't have a samsaric falls. So that reason is called the suffering. I mean the excellence, and said definite releases. Definite releases mean that once reached to the nirod or cessation, and those Buddhists, I mean the who they realize one, they will definitely not going to do negative karma like a killing, sexual misconduct, or all those negative karma. They will definitely not do. So that way is called the definitely release. So this is you have to know as a Buddha and Bodhisattva, I mean, normally never said to the Buddha, but the Bodhisattva and Arhat, they will never do those negative. But hypothetically, if they do, they are not free from the consequence. So in the Gongjing, Lord Jetsunga said, if created cause to reborn in the hell realm, even the 10th Bhumi Bodhisattva will be born there. Not just miracle power, it's born by karma. So, so that reason, I mean, I'm not saying they will create it, but said hypothetically, even Bodhisattva, so nobody have a special permission to do that one, you know. So why it's called the definitely release is it not because they are not definitely released from the consequences. They are definitely released from the cause. One time, Khenpo Rinpoche went to Tibet, and then one guy came requesting him to give the permission to, because he took a vow of not drinking. And he asked, please take my vow back. I cannot stop drinking. I want to drink, you know, something like that. And Khenpo Rinpoche said, there's no way I can make you, okay to drink by taking away your vows. So it doesn't matter we took the vow or not took the vow. You know, negative is always a negative. Some people think when you take the vow, it become a negative, but when you don't take the vow, it become okay. It's never become okay by anyone. Doesn't matter you're monk, non-monk, you're Buddhism or non-Buddhism, you believe or non-belief, you're worldly being or you're enlightened beings. No one have a special permission to do anything. So that way, Khenpo Rinpoche wrote a book called "Permission and Privation is a Mode of Abiding." It's a nature. Even Buddha cannot give the special, what called passage. Yeah, there are no side door. All is have to go through the main door. So there are no special passage for anyone to. So that way, just definitely release mean that they will definitely not going to create that negative karma. It means if they create it, there will be suffering. Yeah. So, and it's called the truth of the path. Okay, Mark Sartaya. Mark means the path. You know, so path, they are also divided into four: path, reason, attainment, and certain deliverance. So path is mean the you're following to some what called the path that is from the samsara to the state of the nirvana, reach to the nirvana. That way is called to going to somewhere. So I always said, when we said we take refuge, it means go to state of the Buddhahood. We're not calling to the Buddha to come here. We have to go there. Make sense? So that is what it means to take refuge. So that we need the path to go there. So that is what it means. The first one is a path. Then so reason. So a reason means the is also something have a reason means that something So what is not knowing is the afflicted emotions. So this awareness, Buddha always has said, you awake your own awareness. You light your own lamp of the awareness. So this one is what is mean the reason. You need the reason to follow to the path. If you don't have any reason, how you can follow to the path? Yeah. You need a sense of understand what you're doing. I mean, if you do some practice without any knowing, definitely you will receive some blessing, but it doesn't mean that you are following to the, you are following to the non-mistaken path. So even just a small practice we're doing, like a ngondo, including, we have to know what we're doing. So we have to know that how to do that from the A to Z. So that is what the reason mean. Yeah. Your own common sense, your own sense of understand to that one. So that is what is reasons. Then third one said attainment. So attainment means the mind as a entering into the non-mistaking path, non-mistaking way, somewhere to non-mistake. So that is what is attainment mean. The last one is it's called the sudden deliverance. So that this path will separate you suddenly, certain deliverance. Mean the certainly you are separate from the samsara. Yeah, definitely you will reach to the nirvana from that path if you, long as you follow to the path. So this story is, I tell this many times. Mahakashapa and Buddha's first time when they meeting, you know. So Mahakashapa asked to how to reach to the Nirodha or the Nirvana. Then Buddha asked, if you want to go to the cross the water, how you go? How you do? And Mahakashapa said, maybe if water is not so deep, I can walk in the water. Or if I'm really good with a swimmer, I can swim. If I cannot do both of those, I will rent boat, then cross that. So one of those three have to do. So Buddha said, you don't want to walk in the water, you don't want to swim in, you don't want to use the boat, still you want to go other side. How you get there? So there is no way to can get that, but without using any of those methods. You have to do one of those, yeah. So Buddha said, just same way, just people are just praying. It's the same. Don't want to cross the water, but want to get there. So then Mahakashapa asked Buddha, how then I can cross the water? So Buddha said, okay, crossing water, you need the three things, like cross the samsara, you need the three things. So he gave the three trainings, training of the morality, training of the samadhi, training of the wisdoms, teachings. So this is in the Theravada tradition or Hinayana tradition, is called the Eight Noble Path. Okay, right view, right thought, right speech, right livelihood, right mindfulness, right samadhi, right effort, and exact some those. In the Mahayana, it's called the six paramita. So both are same. Right view, right thought, as a training of the wisdom. Right livelihood, right speech. Sometimes right speech is also training of the wisdom, but right livelihood, right action, those are training of the morality. Right samadhi, right mindfulness is a training of the, right livelihood, right speech, right action, those are training of the morality, yeah. And the right mindfulness and right samadhi is a training of the mental concentration. Then last one, right effort is the support of all three trainings. Same way in the six paramitas, like generosity, morality, ethic, patience, as a training of the morality. Mental concentration is a training of the samadhi, wisdom is a training of the wisdom, and perseverance is a support of all three trainings. So in the Mahayana tradition, used as a six paramitas, in the Hinayana tradition, used as a eight noble path. Basically, both are practice of the three trainings. That is the path in the Buddhism. Training of the morality is mainly discipline of the physical body and a verbal. Training of the samadhi is a discipline the mind. Once you discipline the mind and the body, you will have awareness. That's called the training of the wisdom. So that is what is the mark, what Buddha found after many years searching. Mark or path, yeah. Mark Satya. And there's a question, Kambula, may I know how to Four Noble Truth can be understood in the term of Tantra? I think it's the same as a Four Noble Truth is a source of all the teachings. So in the Tantra, there's also samsara and the nirvana. when our mind is confused, from the confusion to we have an ordinary conceptual, like a 5 aggregate. Those are called the samsara. So that way, this is a misunderstanding or confusion as the source of suffering, and ordinary concept of the 5 aggregate is the suffering. Then when you're realizing the 5 aggregate as a 5 with a family, that's a nirod. So how to that realize is by relying on the path of the, what called the rapid empowerment and the liberation instruction. So that is a path. So that way, all is a part of the Four Noble Truth. There's no, separate from the Four Noble Truth. There's no really, it's a Four Noble Truth itself is more elegantly, more detailed, or more different way to explain. That way it's become like a, second will of Dharma, third will of Dharma. So actually, it's a second will of Dharma, third will of Dharma, or can become a part of the Four Noble Truth. That is the foundation of the Buddhism. So that way, there's no separate from the Four Noble Truth. Tantra and the Mahayana is not really separate from the Four Noble Truth. So the reason I think this is all is covered by the Four Noble Truth. So this is one of the Buddhism beauty part of the Buddhism is if you know one really well, you will see all other part of the teaching is within that one. That is what is yesterday I mentioned. It's called the Jishi Gundul. It means knowing one liberated from everything. Yeah. So we have to know really truly more profoundly. Then you will figure out everything is the same way. Looks Buddhism is complicated. Actually, it's not really complicated. Once we figure out. It's like math. It's a really complicated looks. Yeah. Once we figure out, we can put the order. All this really becomes simple. So people who doesn't know the math is one of the most headache. But people who know the math, that is the most joyful one. Lots of people really like math because they can understand. Once they can understand, they get so much joy from that. So I think similar Buddhism is like that. It looks not simple, but it's really simple. Make sense? Okay, thank you everyone. And okay, we stop here. So thank you so much. Chanchu sem joy Rinpoche ma ge ba na ge joy ge ba nyam ba mem ba ya kone kondo pe wa joy tada konde tam je tu sundo sabata yebe jeve zawandi Tata Seje Danje Nyundo Lana Memba Yandaba Zobe Janju Rinpoche Toba Joje Sheja Kunse Kunje Choje Tende Nela Wanda Tekamba Rinche Beje Temba Sita Shedro Tusan Gombe Nze Joje